All right, level 4, the final chapter. There's probably a song about that, but I don't know. Starts with Caesar in the nominative. So, Caesar, once he had approved of his being Labanus's plan, even though he was disappointed in his counting on, in his opinione, in his estimate of 3 legions, he returned to 2, like mentally. He was like, all right, I wanted 5, I get 2, here we go. However, Caesar, put the unum auxilium, the only help of the communi salutis, the common safety, in speed. So in other words, we got to get there. It doesn't matter, we got to get there. Now again, look at the contrast between what Caesar's doing and what Sabinus and Cotta started off doing. And he even said, look, they debated, you've got this, that's why you have 2 leaders, I mean, he didn't really fault them. It was just the wrong thing for that time. Also look at who else is using speed to great effect. Ambiorix. He placed it all in speed. He came into the Nervian borders through huge journeys. In other words, through like large marches, okay? And that means they covered a lot of ground quickly. There, he learned from prisoners what was happening at Cicero's, okay? At Cicero's camp. And in how much danger Cicero's camp was in. Then he persuaded one out of the Gallic horsemen with huge rewards, probably like promise of huge rewards, that he, the Gallic horseman, should bring a letter to Cicero. So like, hey, I need someone to get there even quicker. Who wants a big reward? The Gaul raises his hand. He's like, great, get on your horse, get there. Now, sending a Gaul towards Cicero's guys is not going to draw nearly as much attention, because that's how, and notice what he's doing here, but that's how he got his message, right? He's using Cicero's same method to get the lesson. So he's learning from his men. He is not too proud to employ his men's stuff. And he's kind of, by doing that, when he gets the note across to Cicero, Cicero will be like, oh, I recognize my method. Here we go. Speaking of which, Caesar, sends this message, which was written with Greek letters. I want to talk about that for a second. Because the Gauls did have access to Greek letters, but only the Druids had that access. And the Druids restricted literacy across all of Gaul. They were not allowed to have literacy. So the only people that would have had it would have been the Druids, not anyone else. So he uses Greek letters, which any upper-class Roman would also know. They would have known Greek and Latin. If you're a Gaul and you work with the Romans, you will have seen plenty of writing in Latin to the point where you might learn Latin. So it's to his advantage to use a forbidden to the Gauls language, and one that only your upper classes will know in Rome. Written in Greek letters, so that if the letter or the message was intercepted, our plans would not become known by the enemies, or become learned, or just learned by the enemies. Now notice he said our plans, because as we get closer and closer to the action, he's drawing all of Rome into it. It's really bringing us into it, right? Now we're in on his plan because it's our plan. Really good propaganda here. If the Gaul, if he is not able to approach the camps, then Caesar instructs him to, or advises him to hurl his spear within the fortification, with the letter having been tied to the spear with a thong. Now, our idea of a thong is different, but it's essentially the same thing. It's a thin strip of something. Shoes used to be called, those were thongs because there's a thin strip that went between your toesies, and now it just, worked its way up the body. But a thong is just a thin strip of leather. So look at what's happening here. If you can't get the letter through, we tie it around a spear. Again, Cicero used that same method to get a message out. So if he sees a letter on a spear, he'll know that his message got out, and he'll recognize his own idea. Okay, very clever. He, Caesar, writes in his letter that he, Caesar, had already set out with his legions, and he, Caesar, will be there quickly. And I like that we use ad fore, because fore is an infinitive we hardly ever see. He, Caesar, encourages him, Cicero, to hold on to his prior manliness. So like, you've been manly for a little while, be manly for a little while longer, and I'll almost be there, right? So, it's standard advice. I tell you guys all the time, someday somebody's going to turn around and make you want to say goodbye. But until then, are you going to let them hold you back and make you cry? Don't you know that things will go your way if you just hold on for one more day? Just hold on for one more day. Hold on for one more day. The Gaul, which is the messenger, fearing danger, or having feared danger, since he feared danger, as he had been ordered or instructed, he hurled the spear, or hurls the spear, because it's all present tense, it's happening. This thing, the spear, by chance stuck to a tower. And it was not noticed by our men for 2 days. On the third day, a certain soldier noticed it, and once he had taken it down, brought it to Cicero, or it was brought to Cicero. And notice, actually, this is all kind of passives that are happening to the letter, because the drama is on the letter. The drama is on that spear. So, like, our camera is on that spear, and it's being carried and stuff like that. But, good English and all. That one, Cicero. And again, this whole story is about how amazing Cicero was, right? It's not lost on his brother. So that one, Cicero, reads the letter thoroughly out to, or like from top to bottom, to the assembled soldiers. And, no, I'm sorry, he reads it after he had read it thoroughly. So he reads it first, and then he reads it to the soldiers. And this, this reading, ad fecit, fills, infects, influences, no, it's not enough, injects, no, I would almost say infects, all the men with the greatest joy. And then the smoke clouds of fires from far off were spotted, or were seen, which occurrence, the spotting of the fires, banished all doubt of the arrival of Caesar's legions. There you go. Now, you are going to, of course, summarize the rest of Book 5, because why would you not want to find out what happened? Cool stuff. But the book stops there because, I mean, ultimately it's, we know what's going to happen. But you should translate it. It's a lot of fun. But you should at the very least read it in English and then summarize it for your own records. So feel free to send me digital copies of what you're doing. Feel free to use your red pen on what you've written out. I'm a sucker for writing things out because computers get lost. And I still have my journals of all my translations. So that's the end of your Caesar work. Next, we're going to dive back into Livy, per your all's discussion. I miss you guys. I hope to see you soon. and I'm excited to hear that you've translated all this. So, best of luck to you at all of this, and let me know when we can start Livy again because there's some really fun stuff. All right, I'm gonna hit the button.